All right, welcome back, everybody, for some members first content. This is going to be my top 10 and 10 for this week, ending 3/31. So, members will get to see this early as I record this and drop this on Thursday, the 30th, but everyone else can check it out the following day. So, members get a free sneak preview ahead of time. So, that's the benefits of membership, I guess. So, hopefully, you guys are enjoying this as well as all the other content here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And yeah, if you want to see what books are moving on the market this week that have caught my eye, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back to run down our top 10 in 10 minutes. All right, as we get the clock ready to roll, this is going to be our top 10 in 10. So let the countdown begin now. All right, so as we've done last week, I asked you guys if you wanted me to number them, but you didn't care about numbering, so I'm going to keep the same format that I did before. And we're going to do a follow-up on my Wednesday watch list and start with some of the new books that actually came out this week that were pre-selling pretty well and see how they're doing now that they've been released. So we're going to start off with our follow-up books. Our first one being that 1 in 25 Harley book that Dan Mora did. This was for Harley Quinn number 28. A lot of regular covers on this as well, but this is the 1 in 25, which is pretty striking. I like the red; it kind of pops. Now, before Wednesday, technically before Tuesday, because it's a DC book, came out on Tuesday, but still, before Wednesday, this thing was pre-selling from anywhere in that $15 range for those early sales, as well as up to $35 just before release. Now that the book hits people's hands, well, now it's selling for right around that $30 mark. So it is slightly above that ratio price. Not crazy high. Like I said, it's around $30 for a 1 in 25, but it is still moving and there's still plenty of sales. So people do seem to like this cover. Now, the other one I mentioned that's also an incentive that I talked about on our Wednesday watch list on this past Monday was this Dungeons & Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures. This is the number 1 in 10 RI retailer incentive. Yeah, I don't want to say exclusive, but this is the retailer incentive, the 1 in 10. Before Wednesday, this thing was pre-selling for anywhere from $40 from some of those early sales on the 28th to as cheap as $10.50. Granted, that $10.50 also, had $5 shipping. So still, $10 to $40 is a pretty wide range. And that $10.50 was also the most recent sale. But $40 seemed to be the high for the pre-sales. And after, not a lot have sold, but there's available copies in that $40 to $35 range. So the asking prices are pretty high on this one. Don't know how many are out there, how easy it is to find, but keep an eye out if your shop had one or has one, because a lot of times with these IDWs and these lesser known ones, they might charge you under ratio. So something like $7-8. And I think it's a good pickup for that price. But that said, another DC 1 in 25 that I was watching seems to be doing okay and better. The other ones, they're either dropped in price or they're not worth talking about. But these ones seem to at least still be kind of interesting following the Wednesday releases. And that is Tim Drake Robin number 7. Again, another 1 in 25. Not a bunch of these out there. Before Wednesday, we were talking about it. Copy sold for $20. So under ratio. Since Wednesday, though, yes, some copies for $33, $50, best offer on $75. This seems to be selling, pretty well above ratio. So one to keep an eye out for if you can find it, I think. Again, this series is ending in only a few more issues, so the print run's probably not high, so there's probably not a lot of these out there, but we'll see. Another book that doesn't seem to have a lot of them out there is the 1 in 100 for Star Wars Jabba's Palace. This is the Virgin cover. We also talked about this on Monday, looking ahead to Wednesday. And before Wednesday, yes, there were some high prices, some high sales, $175 up to $250. But I think that $250 purchase was actually another $175 buy, because that's my friend Ali, who also writes for CBSI, had told me they sold their copy because he does do online retailing. So he did say that they sold their copy for $175. So this is another case where, eBay doesn't always reflect the correct prices when there's offers and things made. So with that said, after Wednesday, there's copies out there, but they're all looking for $250, $235, $300. So well above ratio. But they're coming to market, but there's still not a ton. They're 3, but they want decent return for their investments, because 1 in 100, there doesn't seem to be a ton of these out there. That's it. That's our follow-up for the stuff looking ahead. Those were the new release books for the week, but there's plenty of other stuff that's already been on the market that is worth taking a look at, including this recent release, this image book, No One, which I don't know a lot about. I'll freely admit it. I don't know a lot about this one, but it seems for one reason or another, this cover out of all of them, there's multiple covers here as well. Tom Whalen one that I actually kind of like, but it's selling close to cover, maybe $6-7. But this one, the cover A, has more than 50 sales and it's selling for like $20. $20 for this. And it's like I said, this is a recent release. So I don't know where we're getting that from. But hey, keep an eye out if you can find one at your shop, I guess. Um, News confirming the casting of Grim Reaper in the Wonder Man show. Again, I'm not super duper excited about it, but hey, there's news just announced. So this was news that dropped the last day or so. So within the last day or so, there have been 16 sales of this book. Granted, I realize that's not like a ton, but still, that's only over a day, not a week, just the last day. And prices are ranging all over the place from what's selling. A lot of graded copies, but in that kind of lower to mid-grade kind of grades. I mean, look, there's a 4.0 sold for like $80, raw copies selling for like 30, 7.0 sold for 135. So we'll see how the price goes with this, but the copies that are out there seem to be getting cleared out as people are looking ahead to Wonder Man, I guess. Other news of a recent announcement is that Joe Manganiello is going to be doing a Dragon Lance movie. With the popularity and the excitement, I'm excited for the Dungeons and Dragons movie personally. I know it's probably going to be silly, but I could use a little silly. But Dragonlance is another series that could be coming our way in the form of a movie, as I said. So 30 plus sales on this number one first issue. Again, these are pretty cool books. I did like getting these back in the day. The Advanced Dungeons and Dragons comics, the Dragonlance comics, they're out there. You might even be able to find them still in some dollar bins. But you can see copies are selling. Raw copies could be anywhere from like $10 to $30. Some graded copies as well. Price, we'll see where it goes. It's probably going to linger in that kind of $20 range, maybe higher, depending on how hard this gets to be to find. But with that said, let's move on to our next book as we only have 4 minutes left. And our next book is a book that was on last week, and that is the Sinister book. First appearance of Mr. Sinister, Uncanny X-Men 221. We brought it on last week because of the confirmation that he was going to be the big bad in the X-Men animated show, and the book continues to sell. Another 40 plus sales over the last week since last week's news means it's still moving. Price still kind of hanging in that same place. I mean, this isn't a book that was ever really that cheap, especially the last few years, but still 20 to 45 up to $76 for raw copies. So it's still selling well. It's not so much that the price is really spiking. It's just that copies are being picked up as they're out there. So just keep an eye out for it, and keep an eye on that price too if you're going to think about purchasing, because prices are still, fluctuating a little bit depending on grade. You can get some cheap ones out there, and sometimes it could be quite expensive. So don't overpay. That said, I think we only got like 2 left, so I think I'm ahead of schedule on our top 10 in 10 minutes. But another announcement is that they are going to be bringing back the X-Files. I think it's Ryan Coogler. Coogler might be involved in this. I can't remember who was involved, but it looks to be that they're going to be bringing back the X-Files in some fashion. I don't know if it's going to be movies or just TV or what, but 40 plus sales on the X-Files comic, which we've talked about here before, not on this particular top 10, but on other shows. And the green one is the one that seems to be selling for more than the actual numbered edition, that reddish one. I don't know. I mean, it's a limited number. It's 120,000 copies, so it's not like it's that limited. But the green text or the green trade dress seems to be the one that's selling a little bit better. But there are multiple versions. There's also a 1/2 issue, I think, out of there from Topps. I think there might be a black and white ash can too. All of these seem to be selling. And again, you can see here, copies are selling as high as $30 for that the green trade dress in a raw, and then $175 for a 9.8. So not too bad, right? If you can find it. And this was a book you could find in dollar. I've seen this in dollar bins before. I think we covered in Wizard. That's what I think it was. Wizard Rewind. There was a time back in when this first came out in 1995, 96, somewhere in there, that this book was hot. But now, maybe getting hot again a little bit, tiny bit. Still, I wouldn't go falling all over myself to make sure I secured a copy. It's just one of those things I'd say keep an eye out for. And if you find it in a cheap box, okay, maybe grab it. But otherwise, don't go overpaying. Because I doubt even a new show is really good. Because again, if it's a new show and they're going to have a new cast, why is everybody going to gravitate to this? If it's not Scully and Mulder, then what's the difference? Like, it's, yeah, okay. I just don't see the draw. It won't be there. That said, 1 minute left. I think we got one book left. And this is not something that I typically cover on the channel in general because, well, I buy them. I got nothing against like exclusives and store exclusives, convention exclusives, etc. But I am a little more lenient, I guess, towards this convention exclusives because they would be open to everybody. I don't know. But we do have an upcoming convention. MegaCon is coming this weekend, and a lot of pre-sales for some of the variants going to be there, including this one. This was a store exclusive that sold out and was selling pretty well. This is that Will Jack Action Comics 1053 variant. The trade dress, as well as the version where it's kind of zoomed out a little bit. The regular sold out. So what do? We have foil versions. I haven't seen the real deal of these yet, but if it's DC foil, it's probably going to be dull. But it's white. They're pretty bright covers. So I don't know. Maybe the foil will work. Maybe it won't. But foil editions of these are pre-selling pretty high, if you can see here. And yes, their best offers on $175, but they actually accepted. I didn't get the prices in here. They actually accepted pretty close to it. I think the one accepted 140. The other one did accept like right around 175. So they weren't discounted in those best offers. So keep that in mind as well. Oh, did we run over time? Yes, I ran over on time, but we are wrapping it up. Just something to keep an eye out for. Don't go overpaying for these things. Don't let FOMO get a hold of you. But it's worth knowing that there is a market for these covers still. Even after the first sellout, they came back with some foils. So you got a second bite at the apple, I guess. Just like this must be the fifth bite of this apple because we have yet another foil edition of this Batman 423. Slightly different version of the foil, but as I have here, when is enough? I don't know. I like the cover, but man, they're really beating this cover like to death. Just reissuing it and reissuing it, making it slightly different. Virgin versions, foil versions, different colorways. Just, I don't know. But that said, keep an eye on it. This is also out there, I think, at MegaCon. If anybody's out there, down there, keep an eye out for this stuff. And with that, thank you to all of our members. Thank you for everybody else as well. You guys will see this after them. But yeah, still having fun doing this, and hopefully you still enjoying the content. All right, later.